Tom Leyden with our Patriots Insider Jeff Howe from The Athletic, and this was unexpected, and now 2 straight losses. I appreciated from the guys who we spoke with in the locker room that there's no finger pointing, and there shouldn't be, because this is on everyone, no question about it.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really a single person who played well tonight, and the captains addressed the media, they spoke up, they were accountable, they answered every question really thrown their way. The interesting thing is, and Devin McCourty touched on it, everything, they're doing everything right in practice in the film room. They know what they need to do, and it sounds like everything's working out midweek. It's just not translating to the game. I said, why? Devin McCourty said, well, if I knew, they'd be undefeated right now. So it's a weird process of a veteran team with good leadership and a lot going on upstairs, but they just can't translate it to Sunday.
I thought if this game started in a manner where the Lions could come out with some urgency, and they did play well right out of the chute. They only got a field goal on that first drive, but they had forced a 3-and-out and then to get the ball right back and to go right down the field again. That said a lot. They set the tone. And when you come into somebody else's stadium and you allow them to set the tone, you're not going to win the game. One thing you talked about, Devin McCourty, what he said to me, which I found interesting, is when you know your offense is struggling and they're going 3-and-out, you got to get off the field as a defense, because otherwise you're forcing them to play perfect. And that was an interesting point that I hadn't thought of. What did you think about the Lions setting the tone tonight?
Yeah, I mean, they did it right away. I mean, the Patriots didn't have a first down until it was already 13-0 in the second quarter. And you mentioned the defense needing to get off the field. I thought that was the most frustrating stretch and really encapsulated the whole night. The Lions were 7-14 on third down, which I thought it was actually way better than that. But in the third quarter, Juwan Bentley gets the pick. Brady goes down, gets a third down touchdown to James White. Dietrich Wise opens the next series with a sack. Okay, it looks like this is another comeback, another first half that they're just going to completely erase. But then the Lions overcome the sack. They convert 3 third downs and score a touchdown on that drive. The Patriots come back and punt, and the Lions kick another field goal. And that was it right there. The little momentum that they had lasted for 2 series. The Lions owned the rest of the night.
Guy who's going to take some heat this week is Stephon Gilmore. He was in coverage on both of the touchdown passes that Matthew Stafford threw. And it seems, last year he ramped it up. By the time he got to December, January, he was kicking it on all cylinders. What happened? Why is he back to where he was at the beginning of last year, you think?
I wouldn't compare the 2 years, because last year there was a lot of, he was getting lost in certain zone assignments. There was some miscommunication issues. But this time, there were 2 plays when he just got beat. And you look at Jacksonville last week, the only one bad play he had against the Jaguars was just that fade route in the end zone. Got beat. Tonight, got beat with that crossing pattern on the 4-yard touchdown that they used the replay to reverse. And then the 33-yard over route, which was a very similar play to the one that he broke up to send the Patriots to the Super Bowl last year against the Jaguars. But he got beat on this one. He got beat to the inside. Deron Harmon probably could have helped him, but he was the free safety over the middle, chose to go in the other direction where the rest of the routes were kind of taking place. And I think it was just they expected Gilmore to make that play to stay with the coverage, and he just got beat as soon as Jones made that inside cut.
It was pointed out a lot towards the end of the telecast tonight. First time the Lions have had a 100-yard rusher since Reggie Bush was in the backfield on Thanksgiving Day in 2013. I mean, this defense is an issue. And now you got a 3-0 Miami Dolphin team coming in, a division game that's going to count even more at the end of the season. What needs to get going here for everybody to get on the same page defensively, you think?
They need a pass rush. It's been completely non-existent ever since, that was a mirage, as it turned out, against the Texans, and quite possibly the worst offensive line in the NFL. There was no pass rush against the Jaguars. There was hardly any pass rush against the Lions. When you have a quarterback back there doing whatever he wants in the pocket, you're not going to help out. And the front seven's not stopping the run either. I mean, you look at some of Kerryon Johnson's runs, the pocket was formed 6 yards beyond the line of scrimmage before he even met a Patriots defender. I mean, how many times did that happen? So they need more of a push. And it's about beating your guy in the trenches. And until that starts to happen, you're going to set up all these third and shorts and these convertible third downs that the Jaguars and Lions have taken advantage of.
All right, last one is this. As you look at this team, it feels weird to go in that locker room and they're in the middle of a 2-game losing streak. They're under 500. It's not something that anybody's used to. All the players said, and losing any game stinks. Is it, typical Patriots are going to figure out a way to bounce back? Do you get that sense from this team, or is there a higher level of concern?
I think last week that was the storyline. Okay, get this thing out of your system. This happens frequently in September, especially since 2010. But the fact that you saw similar issues bleed into this Lions game, there is some concern. You want to spin a rosier picture, though? You look at the Dolphins coming to Foxborough next week, chance to get to 2-2, and then just a few days later you get the Colts on Thursday night. So you can go from the sky is falling in New England to getting 2 wins in 5 days and all of a sudden being 3-2 and rolling into October. So it's just, can these veterans rally quickly enough, to get that done? You got Julian Edelman coming back in a week as well. But again, next week is as close to a must-win game as they've had in week 4 in years.
Surprised we didn't see Josh Gordon?
No, because the way the week sort of set up, and I kind of found all this out in the last 24 hours or so, they wanted Josh Gordon to play. They hoped Josh Gordon could play when they brought him in. And that was, all right, like Michael Floyd 2 years ago. They knew he wasn't playing. Corey Coleman last week. They knew he wasn't going to play in his debut. Josh Gordon, they wanted to get him out there. The hamstring just wasn't cooperating. They couldn't get him into team drills. So it's like, what are you going to do with a guy with 3 days of practice when he's not really practicing with the first team? So there just wasn't enough of a role for him. His hamstring has to get right.
Yeah, I don't know how much he would have helped tonight. It's nothing that one guy could have cured. A weird day in the NFL. The Bills go to Minnesota and beat the Vikings. The Redskins beat the Packers, and the Lions beat the Patriots. It's a couple things we did not expect tonight as we continue to play football in September. We're in Detroit. For Jeff Howe from The Athletic, I'm Tom Leyden. We'll see you again next week.